Hello, this is Rory with the Love Chat, and today's topic is Breakup Relapse. Now, this is video number 261. If you have a question you would like for me to consider featuring on the Love Chat, please write it in a comment below, and if you enjoy my content, I'd be very grateful if you'd subscribe and hit like. As always, if you would like voice or email coaching, just visit my website, thelovechat.net/coaching, and use the code TLC2020 for 15% off all the voice coaching. Now then, let's talk about emotional or breakup relapse. So what is this? This is basically when you've gone through a breakup that was months ago, maybe weeks, maybe even years. And for some reason, even though everything in your life that you can actively identify is fine, you begin thinking of your ex again. Now, let me paint a broader picture here. You were broken up with 6 months ago, let's say. And because you were broken up with, you've taken your time to heal, you've maybe even done some dating, you're with the counselor, you're at the gym, you're really taking control of your life. And then one day, it feels like you're back at day one. And at first you begin to reassure yourself, it's no big deal, it's just a hiccup. Look, this is supposed to be an emotional roller coaster, right? Except, day 2, you're still feeling this way. Day 3, you're still feeling this way. My friends, this is known as what's called breakup relapse, and this is completely normal. Basically, you're reliving all of the old feelings because your brain is making one final attempt to reconnect to the past where it feels like it belongs. This is really jarring for so many people who go through this because it feels as though this version of them was not supposed to exist. It can be a really jarring and concerning feeling because we think that we're doing really well, and then some big hiccup like this comes across and knocks everything down. Why? Well, really for no good reason other than our brains aren't used to the idea of breakups. Ultimately, a breakup is a modern-day invention. Now, if you think way back in the land before time where there's cavemen and cavewomen, there was no such thing as a breakup. Hell, even as early as the 20s, that is, the 1920s, breakups, divorce, it really wasn't a normal thing, because human beings understood that in order to survive, they must work together. And so, when there's a problem, you don't break up. When there is an issue in the marriage, you fix it, you don't break up. Now, there are many other reasons that this might have been the case, but we're not going to go into that because it goes beyond our scope. The point is that our brains, biologically and survivally speaking, aren't used to the idea of a breakup. It doesn't make any sense for survival purposes, which is why people get together and mate anyway. The continuation of the human race. And if you break up with your mate, well then your mate can't protect you, you can't provide warmth to your mate cannot help you raise your offspring, and the human race doesn't survive. So a breakup these days doesn't really make any sense, and because it takes millions of years for us to evolve, whereas it takes 1 year to get the newest iPhone, or it takes 1 day to find a Tinder date, our brains are trying to catch up. And this is one of those things where, even though we cognitively know that our breakup is over, we cognitively know that there are other fish in the sea, as they say, and we cognitively know that the breakup isn't required, or rather, the relationship isn't required for survival, our brain still holds on to the relationship. It's unusual, it's abnormal, it's not supposed to happen. Because again, your brain is designed to keep you alive and have offspring as long as possible. Why? It ensures the survival of the race, of the greater whole. And so now and then your brain will continually reach backwards for something that it doesn't have anymore. Now, what many people do when this happens is they beat themselves up. They think there must be something wrong with me that this happens. Why is this so painful? It's been months. I was good for such a long stretch of time. What's the situation here, and why is this happening? When honestly, it's quite simple. You went through a breakup, and this is your brain shaking off the last remnants of that connection. It's completely normal, but it is very, very unsettling because it makes us think, what did I do wrong? I've been doing all the personal work. I've been doing all the self-love. I'm even doing some dating. I really like this new person that I'm dating. Why am I thinking about the old person who's no longer here and who hasn't been here for months? Like I said, my friends, this is very normal. And if it's happening to you, or if it has ever happened to you, I don't want you to give it too much thought. For the people who it has happened to and past, maybe it might be helpful for the people who are going through it just now to let them know your experience. How long did it last? Was it a day or was it a week? The problem with a lot of this is that there's no specific science behind it. At the end of the day, much of what we know about the psychology of the brain and behaviors are based on observation, but are ultimately guesses. Not all of them, of course, but for a lot of them. And we can only go off of that which we can prove scientifically. And the issue is, since I can't crack your head open and see exactly what you're going through, I can't prove it with science, and so I must turn to other means, observation. And so here's what I've observed. Every time you're going through some sort of emotional relapse, a breakup relapse, every time you're thinking about the dumper, months later, one of two things will happen, typically. Either A, you will accept how you feel and not make it a bigger deal than it needs to be, or B, you will go nuclear and dive right back into the unhealthy behaviors that got you here in the first place, like checking social media, asking mutual friends, diving back down the rabbit hole that is known as Reddit, and these things will only worsen this condition. They will make you go from bad to worse because what it does is it revisits this idea that there must be something wrong with me that I'm feeling this way, rather than just the true acceptance of, hey, how I feel is how I feel. I'm going to keep doing what I know is healthy for me, and I'll just let whatever happens happen. I'll kick back, prepare myself to the best of my ability, and trust that the universe is going to take me where I need to go. But it's completely understandable that people freak out and sort of dive back down the rabbit hole because it's so unfamiliar. Remember that most of these people were doing really well for maybe even 3, 4, 5 months, maybe a year. And so out of nowhere to think of your ex, it's highly unusual. And we as humans, and stubborn at that, always need to find why we are the problem, why something we did caused this, when in reality sometimes the only thing that caused this was our monkey brains trying to catch up with the reality of 2020, where I can click a button on my phone and coffee will show up at my door, which I am ashamed to say I have used many times since COVID-19 began. But what can you do? The point is this. It is hard to be in 2020 operating off of a brain designed for survival for millions of years ago. The simple truth is, sometimes the best way to beat these situations is to not make them bigger than they are. Yeah, after years I miss my ex from time to time. That's okay. It was somebody I created a connection with over the course of years. It was somebody I had grown with and learned how to be a better person with, at least romantically. What's important is that we remember the good about a relationship and we allow ourselves to say farewell when it's so many months later. But if this is a breakup that you're just having, well, ask yourself what you need to focus on right now. After a breakup, do you need to focus on the good and only the good? Or do you need to focus on the bad for right now? It's important to know when to access which thoughts. In other words, if you're going through a breakup and your anxiety is sky high and the only thing you can think of is your ex, maybe focus on the negative thoughts right now. Those are going to help you take your ex off of the pedestal. However, if it's months later and you've taken them off the pedestal and for the most part you're feeling pretty good, it's okay to remember the fond memories. It's okay to walk forward with the relationship, making you stronger for the future. So many people I speak with, especially in coaching, are so intent on kicking their own ass into the ground, and my friends, I just don't understand it. I don't understand what that's going to do for you. I don't understand how it's going to help you be stronger and more prepared for future relationships. Now, for those of you who are just going through a breakup, yeah, I know what you want to hear. My ex is definitely coming back. They're definitely going to get back together with me. Absolutely. Well, sorry, I can't promise you that. No coach can promise you that, and any coach who tries to is full of shit. But there are many things that you can do for yourself that will make you more attractive and make anybody, including your partner, pay more attention to you. It's important to realize that a lot of this stuff is indirect. I'm focusing on me, which will change how everybody around me feels about me, including myself. And this is entirely different than I'm focusing on you to change how you feel about me. Direct versus indirect. Active versus passive. And this is all we really need to learn. So I guess to surmise, if you're thinking about your ex months to years later, and you're worried that you're still wanting them back, take it easy on yourself. It's normal. That's all I had for today. If you found my video helpful, I'd be very grateful if you'd subscribe and hit like. Please leave a comment below and tell me, has this happened to you? And how long did it last for? Of course, if you would like extra videos every week, private live streams with me, and free giveaways of my best-selling book, just visit my Patreon, patreon.com/thelovechat. Until next time.